Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I like to talk about Portugal and Europe travel and travel news, so please like and subscribe if that's something that you're into. Today I'm going to talk about HOAs in Portugal. Do they have them? What are they called? What do they cover? Who manages them? How much do they cost? And what are some potential problems that you may encounter that we have encountered in dealing with an HOA? So let's start with what is an HOA. Maybe not everyone is familiar with that term. That's more of a US or an American term, but generally speaking, if you're in a building or if you are in a community, many places, let's say in the Algarve, have like golf course communities and whatnot. An HOA is a body of people, or it could be just one person that manages the property, the upkeep, and things of that nature. So when you're looking at properties and you're going to buy something, oftentimes you won't see in the listing HOA fees or any type of information about fees for being an owner within the building or within your community. So you do have to contact and make sure that your realtor, you have to ask them, hey, are there any fees associated with living in this area, whether it be on a monthly basis or they'll annualize them. So here in Portugal, I found various different names for what I would refer to as an HOA. So I've seen homeowner association, that's what it stands for, fees. I've seen management fees, building service fees, common area fees. There might be some other names for them, but those are the things when I've asked and inquired on properties, as well as when we were inquiring on this property. They call them various different things. I don't think they have one name for them. So what do they cover? So the building management fees, if you will, are supposed to cover things like cleaning of the building, the upkeep and maintenance inside, the stairwells, the elevators, putting money aside if there's any issue, not just cleaning them, but servicing them if there's a problem. The roof, if the roof of the building, if you're in an apartment setting, has issues, then the common area there would be able to be split out the cost for a new roof amongst all the owners or tenants in the building. If you're in let's say a community with homes, sometimes it can be an apartment building. You have a pool, maintenance and upkeep. You'll have trees, shrubs, lawns, so that common area that everybody pays a piece of to help maintain. So those are the things that they cover. And then how much does it cost? Well, that's a loaded answer because it could be anywhere. I don't think we found anything less than €9 a month, which is what we are paying, which is at the bottom end. Kind of get what you pay for in some respects. We've seen properties that are several hundred a month in these fees. Now you can imagine the ones that are at the high end have pool or pools. They almost look like a resort if it's an apartment building, or if you're in a place, mostly golf course communities that we found south of Lisbon and in the Algarve have several hundred because you're paying for hundreds of trees, acres of lawn and things like that they're taking care of. So that's the cost is a wide range. I will say if you're looking at an older building within Lisbon or Porto or maybe Madeira, you're going to be looking at maybe 20 to 30 euros a month as far as the upkeep cost or maintenance fee that will be your obligation if you're purchasing property. One of the things that came up that was new is we didn't ask the question, well, who runs it? Who takes care of things in our building or if we're buying a home someplace? Well, that can be, if it's a newer property or a community of properties, most likely there is a group of people, they could be homeowners or third parties, or a property management firm that acts as the HOA, if you will, the one that makes decisions on how much to charge people each year. Do they need to increase fees? What is covered? What they're going to pay for or allocate for or whatnot. What I mean allocate or pay for is sometimes you may need a new elevator or an upgraded entry door or new windows in a common area place. those are things that they would make decisions on. Now, in our case, and what you're going to find in many places in Portugal, it's just one person that is managing it, and it's usually the longest standing or a very tenured member of the building or within the community that just, I don't know how they got the job. But the person in our case was, I think for 30 years, was the apartment manager or building manager, if you will, that we sent the fees to. And then when there was a problem, we could just go knock on the door and say, hey, we need an issue. There's something going on with the steps, or there's a problem with the entry door, etc. Well, the last thing I want to talk about are problems that can come up with an HOA. So we've talked about what are they called here, what do they cover, how much do they cost, who could be involved, anywhere from one person to a group or a committee. But some of the problems that come up, especially if you're dealing with an older building like we are, we have the situation of, if you look at the photos I'm presenting here, our building, at least the front, needs a new paint job. The facade is wearing, and we need a new coat of paint, as well as some plaster and some maintenance done to the outside common areas. The latch on our entry door works, so it locks, but oftentimes when you are inside going outside, you can't push the red lever to open it. You have to push a lever next to the door because it's broken and it needs to be repaired. Not a big deal because it locks, but just something that needs to be upgraded. And then lastly, you can see here just in our landing and our entryway, below, or just above, one of the apartment doors is this plumbing. There was a leaky pipe, and it was common area plumbing, not for this one apartment. So part of it, the leak got fixed, but as you can see, the rest of it hasn't been filled in or plastered yet, and this was 4 months ago. So one of the main issues that can come up is what happens if, in our case, the person that was the building manager taking care of, let's say, HOA, dies. It passes away or moves away. Who's now in charge of things? So we've tried to contact his spouse. She's living out in the countryside with her son, and there's no way, we've talked to other tenants how to contact her. There's no forwarding number. So we're all waiting for her to come in the fall here to hopefully, if she's looking to take care of things or look what's happening with the apartment, or if the son comes in and we can tell by the windows being open or he's working out back, that we are going to try to contact him and say, okay, what's the process here for transferring from them being the managers to someone else, because we don't know. And even people that have been in this building since the 60s are unsure of how that process works. So where I'm going with that is one of the problems that can come up is if you don't have a go-to person or you don't have a reliable person. We've had people that have said, well, we know who to go to, and it's taken months to get things fixed, even though we have somebody that is available or a committee that should be acting on our behalf. They're not. But in this particular case, who to go to when somebody passes on, we don't know how the succession works within our own building. We're trying to work that out. So to end this, I want to make sure that in your slush fund or your extra fund as you're budgeting for emergencies or issues, if you happen to have, for an example, an issue, a leak, or you're in the top floor of an apartment and there's a roof leak that just happens to be above your space, or if you're in a community and you're in a single family home and there's some common area, there's something that leaks outside in your lawn or on the street next to you, there may be instances and circumstances where you have to pay for it yourself and hope to get reimbursed. Either submit it to the HOA if you know who it is, or you may just be paying for it and you may not necessarily get reimbursed for taking care of the leak above you or the common area plumbing, or if there's an elevator, if it's the only elevator in the building, it may go without being operational for months unless some of the tenants just cobble together money and pay somebody to fix it and then try to get reimbursed after the fact. So it's something not a lot of people talk about. I haven't seen other videos about it, but if you're going to be moving and buying property in Portugal, which more of you are considering buying versus renting, it's something that you have to consider, because it is something that you'll you're going to run into, every place has some type of common area or maintenance building fees. And you just need to know what you're getting into, because hopefully you have no issues and things run smoothly. But if you run into problems or you need things upgraded, you want to try to make sure that they get done in a timely manner. So just food for thought as you're considering your move for Portugal. So as always, thank you so much for watching my videos and enjoy your travels.